Welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about the RRSP meltdown strategy and why you should maybe include that in your retirement decumulation plan. Now, what is an RRSP meltdown strategy? Well, it's fairly simple. It's usually we're just drawing down the RRSP RIF faster than we would otherwise need for your pure retirement spending. Now, there could be 5 different reasons to do an RRSP meltdown strategy. The first one is just from a tax planning perspective. We might want to smooth out taxes in retirement. We might take advantage of lower tax rates in early retirement. We might want to melt down the RRSP RIF faster than we otherwise would to fill up certain tax brackets in early retirement, maybe lower tax brackets. So that could be one reason to melt down your RRSP in early retirement. Now, the second reason could be just from an estate planning perspective. Estate tax can be fairly high, especially if there's a lot of RRSP RIF assets left over. So if you or your partner expect to have a large RRSP RIF by the end of retirement, you might want to melt down that faster just to avoid a lot of estate tax. Now, the other reason why you might want to melt down an RRSP is if you are in a survivor scenario. So again, if you have a partner and you both have large RRSP RIFs, then you might want to melt down your RRSP faster to avoid some of the potential of having a supersized monster RRSP RIF for the surviving partner and higher tax and maybe even OAS clawbacks as a result. Now, the other reason why you might want to melt down your RRSP RIF is because it just gives you more liquidity. So you might choose to draw down your RRSP RIF faster in early retirement, putting that money into a TFSA or non-registered account, which is more accessible and liquid if you wanted to spend more or provide gifts to children. That gives you access to that money a little bit easier. Now, the last reason to maybe melt down your RRSP is if you expect to receive government benefits like old age security or guaranteed income supplement, and you're worried about the clawbacks on those 2 benefits. So those 2 benefits have a clawback that's based on taxable income. RRSP RIF withdrawals are included in taxable income. So sometimes we want to melt down the RRSP before those clawbacks take hold. So if we have the ability to reduce the clawbacks by melting down the RRSP, that can sometimes be a very, very good strategy to avoid GIS clawbacks, old age security clawbacks, and increase the overall estate value, even if it means triggering a little bit of extra income tax. Now, before we look at the examples, my name is Owen. I'm an advice-only financial planner and a CFP, and I'm the founder of Adviice. And Adviice is a platform that you can use to build your own retirement plan. We provide advice to fee-only and advice-only financial planners to work with their clients, but now you can access it directly for just $9 a month. We provide video instructions and a community for support. If you are 5 to 10 years away from retirement and you do not have a retirement decumulation plan in place yet, I highly encourage you to get started. Build a retirement plan using the Adviice platform. You can even connect with a fee-only and advice-only financial planner through the platform to validate the plan that you've built. But if you don't have a plan in place, now's the time to put that retirement decumulation plan and see what your retirement looks like. Let's go through our first example here. So let's introduce the couple that we're working with. We've got Sam and Louise here. Sam and Louise are both 65. And let's take a look at their different income sources and assets before we go through and optimize their plan and implement their RRSP meltdown strategy. So in this case, we've got some income sources. Clearly, there's a large pension here. I think this is for Sam. We've also got some non-registered assets, some registered assets, and they're starting CBP and old age security at age 65. Overall, from a spending perspective, they want to spend quite a bit in early retirement. So $155,000, $156 almost. 107, 108,000 in mid-retirement, dropping down to about 98,000 in late retirement. So a fairly high level of retirement spending. Let's take a look at their net worth. So overall net worth, they've got about 2.2 million. A bunch of that is in their principal residence. But we've got a fairly sizable amount of registered assets. And don't forget, they have a big pension as well. So we've got both taxable income from the registered assets and the pension. We've got a non-registered account and a fairly sizable TFSA. I think in this one, we've got some old age security clawbacks as well. So this is something we're also going to try to optimize for, see if we can get rid of those OAS clawbacks. Now, let's get started. Let's take a look at the different AI strategies. We're just going to go through and implement some of these within the plan. So we've got different spending strategies, but the first ones that don't involve reduced spending is to delay old age security. Now that might make sense because that might, CPP, and that might make sense because that lets us draw down some of these larger registered amounts before we hit OAS clawback. So Let's enable some of these and let's just kind of go through and optimize this plan. And we'll just see what the overall impact is. So we had 1.5 million. Now let's see if we can do anything else. So for Luis, it's also delaying CPP as well. So we're going to do that here. So again, moving some of that income out, bringing up the non-registered and registered withdrawals. It's suggesting to also delay old age security. I wonder if that's still because, again, we've got these old age security clawbacks here. So not much point in starting old age security if we're going to be experiencing clawbacks anyway. So let's go here and delay old age security as well. Again, the AI strategies are doing all this work for us. They're evaluating all of these options just a couple seconds. Makes it extremely easy to evaluate a retirement plan and see what makes sense. So now we're getting into RSP meltdown strategies. So here for Luis, we want to draw down up to $90,000 a year in total retirement income. And that's going to help the plan. So we've got 1.612 million in net worth. That's going to add about $12,000 and success rate about the same. So let's go back here. We're going to enable this strategy and we're going to see if there's any other RSP meltdown strategies. And it could be for Sam pretty much the same. We're just going to fill up these other tax brackets here. So we're going to do that as well. So that helps us smooth out tax here in retirement. And we're pushing some of that income a little bit early in retirement. But the nice thing is we're going down from 700,000 in registered assets. By the time they get to 75, it's only 275,000. So we've got a lot of money in TFSA. They've also spent a lot of money in early retirement. Their success rate is still 94%, but we've really helped optimize the plan in this particular situation. So we've got less taxable income. We've got more taxable income in the beginning of retirement, but we're really maximizing those tax brackets to take advantage of the smoothing of the tax rates. Now let's take a look at our second example here for the RSP meltdown. Let's see who we're working with. So this is Jason and Ali. Jason is at age 56 at the moment. Ali is 59. They have got a fairly significant amount of registered assets, so $1.3 million. We can see from an estate value perspective, they're doing quite good. Their income is quite good, spending's quite good. So they're definitely in a good position for retirement. But what we're worried about here is estate tax if they were to pass away earlier. So even at age 75, we can see there's $800,000 left in those registered accounts. They don't need to draw more from a pure retirement spending perspective, but definitely it has a big impact if they were to pass away earlier, all of that registered assets left in there. By the end of retirement, if they have a long and healthy retirement, they'll end up drawing it all down. It might end up in the TFSA, but if they pass away early or mid-retirement, that's going to be a big impact. So let's evaluate that by first finding the survivor scenario strategies. We're going to reduce the life expectancy for Jason and Ali to 75. And we're going to see what the impact is on their overall estate value. So let's recalculate that. Now we can see here $357,000 in estate tax. So if they were to both pass away around age 75, an incredibly large estate tax bill. Now let's see what we can do to maybe reduce that. So one of the first strategies, AI strategies that pops up is to maximize the TFSA using non-registered or RSP assets. So here we're going to enable that. We're going to move money from the registered account into the TFSA. Even though it wasn't needed for retirement spending, we're going to recalculate this and see the impact. We can see here now the estate tax bill is only $123,000. So down from $350 to $123, that's over $200,000 reduced estate tax just by choosing this one strategy for decumulation. So we've maximized the TFSA every year and we've melted down the RSP just a little bit faster to do so, but a huge impact on their estate tax if they were to pass away in mid-retirement. And the last example here, we're going to show you an example with guaranteed income supplement. So let's take a look at who we're working with. We've got Patrick. Patrick is age 65, and Patrick has, in a base plan, has registered withdrawals, OAS, CPP benefits, has some non-taxable income later in retirement, so getting guaranteed income supplement later in retirement, but not in early retirement due to all these registered withdrawals. Patrick wants to spend about $35,000 a year and has a fairly decent amount of financial assets. So we've got 190,000 or so in registered accounts, RSP, 156,000 in TFSA, but we can see from the plan, Patrick will be eligible for guaranteed income supplement, non-taxable income later on in retirement. So let's take a look at how we can maybe optimize this and add an RSP meltdown into the plan to reduce the clawbacks that Patrick is experiencing in early retirement. Now, the first thing we want to do from a GIS planning perspective is we want to reduce some of these registered withdrawals. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this group RSP, and we're going to reduce that until age 69 to 0. We don't want to draw any of those registered amounts out because they're not actually helping us from a GIS perspective. So let's recalculate that. We'll take a look here. So now we're going to get some more non-taxable income early in retirement, but we've just kind of shifted the problem out a little bit. So let's see what else we can do to maximize the plan. So let's go down here and look at the strategies. So now one of the top strategies, other than reducing spending or life expectancy, is starting CBP at age 60. So we're going to do that. We're going to see the effect on the overall plan. Right now we've got 444,000 in net worth. Now we've got 508,000. So quite a difference just by making this one little change here. So we pushed out CBP, we pushed out these registered withdrawals. We're getting a little bit more now from guaranteed income supplement, but we're still kind of pushing out the problem. You can see that these registered withdrawals just get pushed out a little bit more. So is there something else we can do? It does look like there is. We can see that there's a registered RSP meltdown, so drawing enough from the registered accounts to be right below the OAS clawback threshold. And so our original net worth, 400 something thousand, now we're at 508. This will take it up to 557,000. So lots of additional room then. So if we enable that and we take a look here, instead of spreading out all of those registered withdrawals, we're doing it all within 3.5 years or so. So this is going to help Patrick maximize their net worth, and it's going to give them way more flexibility. Now they have all of their assets in a TFSA rather than sitting in that registered account, which is a little bit less accessible. So not only have they maximized their retirement income, their net worth, but also just more flexible in retirement by melting down the RSP very quickly. Now this is very specific planning, so your situation might be different. I would highly encourage you to build your own decumulation plan before implementing RSP meltdown strategies like this to maximize GIS. As you can see, an RSP meltdown strategy can have an enormous impact on your retirement plan. It can help you reduce taxes throughout retirement. It can help reduce taxes as part of your estate. It can also help provide additional liquidity, and it can reduce the impact on government benefits like GIS and OAS. If you don't have a retirement decumulation plan in place, I would highly encourage you to do so. You can see the impact that just a few changes in your retirement decumulation strategy can have on your plan. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love it if you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks again.